Stop playing. Okay. All right. I think we're recording. Yes, we are. Okay. So, welcome everybody to the exchange. Thank you, Taylor Allen, for joining me today. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I want to give just some context behind why I invited you on as my guest. I found you on Mindset Mastery with Riyadh Jones. I love, that channel, with Riyadh and learning from him about mindset, especially in this field at iMastery Academy. Mm-hmm. And when I found you, I was like, oh my gosh, like, who is this young woman? And I took a couple of notes on some things that you had said because you just immediately awestruck me. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that you said, I actually have all of the notes but one of the things that you said was, I want a life that's beautiful where I could be treated correctly. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know if you remember saying that, but, with that said, I always like to start my conversations off with one question, and that's, what problem would you dedicate your entire life to solving?
That's a great question. And as soon as you asked it, I already knew the answer, like already, and if there's one problem I could think of, and I would probably say, like, and Riyadh actually talks about it, like the hard work, meaning like there's hard work and then there's hard work, right? And what I would definitely say, what comes naturally, what just naturally, where my heart literally like overflows with like interest and desire to like help, it's always been with women, specifically in the areas of confidence, specifically in the areas of self-worth, and just specifically in the areas of healing. I feel like every woman, I had a situation of abuse, but there are so many different scenarios that women go throughout on their journey. You know what I'm saying? Even prior to the abusive situation, even prior to that, I was still going, I still had things that needed healing. I still had things that needed, that I needed help with, understanding, such as self-confidence, self-worth, body image. It was just so many different things. So I would definitely say the one problem that I would dedicate my entire life, money or not, whether I got paid for it or not, to solving, it would definitely be in the realm of like women's development, a woman's journey in life. I feel that we are so beautiful. We're so, multifaceted, multidimensional. And like I have a great relationship with my mom, and I've seen her, like, when you say superwoman, like, women to me are just superwoman. They do it all, especially now. They work, they cook, they clean, they comfort. They just do everything. And you're never really going to hear her complain unless it's to another woman, meaning somebody that could actually understand and could actually feel and connect with whatever pain that woman is necessarily feeling. So I would definitely say just that as a whole would probably, no contest. That would definitely be something that I would be dedicated to doing.
Wow. That jumps me right into my second question. I love my mom too. I actually come from a family of women. Mm-hmm. I'm the daughter of 12 siblings, and I'm the baby of 12 siblings, not the daughter. Yeah. That would be awful. I'm the baby of 12 siblings. But and then just mother, grandma, aunts. So I think that's amazing that's your calling, and that you just have this divine feminine energy with you that's just like your calling to serve. And I think that's one of the things that drew me to you. It's like, who is this cherished being who's just in her divinity, like in her divine femininity? And I'm curious to know, like, where the woman air came from. Like, where did that come from?
Yes. So prior to being the woman air, I actually had Miss CEO. So that was my whole thing. I wanted a Instagram name that was like apart from Taylor, because, you gotta understand, at certain parts of my journey, I basically had to recreate myself. I had to rebuild, so to speak. When you live your whole life taking in this opinion, taking in this ideology, taking in this role, you know what I'm saying, that you're supposed to be playing. And then you get to a point, you know, and I know a lot of people, they call it a midlife crisis. I felt like I went through it at like 20 something, where it was literally like, I don't want none of this. I don't like this. This is who you want me to be. This is who you expect me to be. This is where you believe I should be. And I don't want to be any of it, you know, and I did it. I took it, and I don't want any of it. So, and I'm also a graphic designer. I'm an artist. So I always feel like I take things super deep. Okay. I just feel like I'm just such a deep person. Like sometimes I ask God, like, God, why does everything have to be so deep with me? Like it's just ridiculous. So when I was on Instagram, you know, this is my place of expression, my place of just, you know, like my online sanctuary, whatever you want to call it. And I was thinking, I want to recreate a person. I want to be who I want to. I want to post what I want to talk about. I want to really let go. And like, that's why I'm so transparent on social media. You know, like I want to be a place where I can just be me. And I don't want it to be Taylor even included, you know, and not getting rid of my identity, just saying that I want to create my own identity. I want to create who I want to be, because I'm going to have to be her for a very long time. So what I want to do is I want to create her myself. So it was initially Miss CEO. And then, of course, as my popularity grew, people would begin to like kind of take my name. And mind you, it's a blanket name. Anybody can use CEO. And rather than just like, guys, stop stealing my name, you know, because I'm not like that. I was just like, let me just recreate something else. So I literally I was looking on social media, you know, I'm looking at different people's Instagram name. And for most people, you know, it's so funny that you said that. For most people, they have a different kind of name, meaning like a significant name. Now, my name is Taylor Allen. It's like 2 last names. People have told me that my whole life. So Taylor Allen, there's nothing really like, I mean, it's a very plain kind of name. You get me? So I didn't want to use my real name for multiple reasons. And so I literally, I came across this page called the Womanaires Club. And basically what it is they would have like women's retreats, probably like every quarter. And it's like a sleepover style, you know, but it's like a retreat completely dedicated to like women, meaning things that women go through, whether it be relationships, heartbreak, you know, business, school, all kinds of stuff. It was women from all over, all different types of backgrounds. And basically they do events together. And I always thought of doing women's events. And so I was like, the Womanaire, that's perfect, because it encompasses the woman, you know, which is something that I just feel so connected to, something so, you know, special to me. And then adding the air on the back, like billionaire, millionaire, you know, we're investing, you know, we're talking about a financial space. You get me? So I was like, the Womanaire, that's perfect, you know, because it's not even just about being a millionaire or a billionaire. Like, no, a Womanaire, that's different. You know, a Womanaire, it speaks something different. You know, it says something different, because you're taking a woman and you're putting her in a space where maybe she doesn't normally thrive. You know, maybe she doesn't normally be respected unless she takes on the qualities of that space. But the Womanaire is saying, no, I'm gonna embody myself in this space. And I'm gonna utilize it as my power. You know, I'm gonna utilize it as something that's gonna allow me to be powerful in this space, rather than subtracting it so I can be powerful. No, it's because of this is why I'm going to be powerful in this space. So yes, nobody has ever asked me that before, but yes, that's literally how I came up with the Womanaire.
Well, you know, okay, so I was just I mean, all of that, right? All of that, investing in women, right? Investing in ourselves, helping each other grow, you know, multiplying our potential. You know, those are the things that come to my mind now that you've explained it. And I'm like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense, you know, but it's priceless. You know, a billionaire has a price on it. A millionaire has a price on a trillionaire, you know. Womanaire, that's endless supply of life.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the endless supply of life. And I'm glad that I was the first to ask you that question. So, now I want to go back to something that you said around confidence,
Mhm.
and that being something that's super important to you,
Mhm.
that women that you can help solve that problem really of a lack of confidence, right? A lack of belief in yourself. And I
Mhm.
think that's one of the things that I struggled with coming into a completely different space of this platform that we have, um, of iMastery, right? Like this foreign exchange, all of that, like completely separate from my nurturing self. My like this is cold, it's money, it's
Mhm.
it's intimidating because it's like all these rich people, and it's like what in the world, and so that would be an automatic confidence buster for a lot of people. I'm certain I wasn't the only one who's ever experienced that. And then if you add like problems right on top of it, like life issues,
Mhm.
then you got a whole nother set of stuff, hence, I got issues, right? Like, and so I guess my question is like, what was your what was your pivotal moment like with that, when you were like reaching your all-time low, when you had all of your problems?
Mhm.
Can you kind of describe that pivotal moment for you where you decided instead of going low, I'm going to aim higher?
Yes, absolutely. It would definitely be without a doubt last year, around June. That was like the lowest part of my life, meaning, and at the same time, it was also the part of my life where it was the most powerful. It was the most, like, I received the most out of it. But the reason why, and it was a breakup. One of my friends actually told me, Taylor, I love breakups because with breakups come breakthroughs. And I'll never forget that because I literally was like, that's crazy. That's literally how this breakup made me feel. That's literally how this breakup, like what it did in my life. And it was the lowest point of my life for multiple reasons, which is why I think the woman's journey is so intricate and it's so delicate, because what people may have seen was a breakup, right? That was the first level of them understanding that Taylor's going through something.
Mhm.
But what people don't realize, I think, is that that is just the first layer.
Mhm.
Especially in that time of my life, it was like the cherry on top. It was nowhere near as big of my world crashing down. Like when I thought of, man, my world is really crashing down, it wasn't even just because of the relationship. It was so many factors that I had to deal with. But I'm so thankful and grateful for that happening because I had to unpeel so much. I had to take off so many layers of things. And I know that that's why I was able to not just point my focus in a different direction, but excel in that direction
Mhm.
because I had to release so many layers of things. For example, um, dealing with the breakup, that was one thing. But then I also had to deal with the shame of, I'm 20 something years old. I just left a Christian school where everybody's goal at the end of the 4 years is to be engaged or married. You
Mhm.
know, why do I even think that that's a level of success? Why do I even aspire to? Who told me that that was the timeline? You know what I'm saying? Who told me that that was God's plan for me? And
Mhm.
I'm not saying that that wasn't God's plan for them, but who said that that was God's plan for me? And who said, where in the Bible, what scripture is it about when you go to university, by the 4th year, you need to be engaged or married? Like, who put that timeline on me?
Mhm.
And furthermore, I have to release that pressure. You know, when you have, for me, I had lived my whole life being this picture perfect cookie cutter person,
Mhm.
meaning I don't bend, I don't break. Okay, good grades, went to high school, graduated, homecoming queen. I did all these things, all these just things that are just what is expected of you, what people say about you, what people want you to do. And I had lived, I mean, the short time, really, but I lived majority of my life thinking that, believing that, all these things. So honestly, when that breakup happened, it was dealing with that. And then also dealing with the reality is that why would you let a person treat you like that? It
Mhm.
wasn't even so much anger towards the person. It was anger towards myself. So then that was a whole other layer. My dad had to tell me, He said, Taylor, I'm not concerned with you forgiving him. I know you've already done that. My concern is when you're going to forgive yourself. And I immediately broke down crying when he asked me that. Because just like you, it was a question nobody had asked me. You know, people asked me about the wedding, about the dress, about, you know, I'm praying for you, but I'm also secretly trying to figure out, you know, what's going on. My dad was the only one that literally said, when are you going to forgive yourself, though?
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I want to grab my tissue like right now because
that's real talk. It was like when things happen in a woman's journey, very seldomly are we saying, for the people, let's be honest, women forgive probably that same moment. Before you even say sorry, I probably already forgiven you in my heart, or at least have spoken the forgiveness. But it's a whole other layer to deal with when am I going to forgive myself? When am I going to have that conversation with myself where it's like, why did you let this happen?
Yeah. It's value. It's I think we can forgive ourselves at the level that we value that we deserve forgiveness.
There it is. And there it is right there. So how do you forgive yourself when you feel like you have no worth? Because according to the world's worth, or what people thought was worthy, you don't match up to that. You have not fulfilled that. So I had this, my mom calls it false burden. I had this false burden on myself, as if I hadn't accomplished or I hadn't fulfilled this expectation made by who? You get me? I was more ashamed. Let me tell you, I was more ashamed to tell my parents that I wasn't getting married and somebody was physically abusing me. I was more ashamed of that than actually being in the relationship. That right there shows you how powerful these roles are. Like how powerful other people's expectations, other people's desire, like how powerful someone else's voice can be in your life. That I was more ashamed. Yes.
Projection of somebody else's limiting belief system onto you, you know, like this is what you have to do. And for me, and I didn't think this was going to come up, but since but you got me thinking about kind of like my why for even finishing college, right? Like I went to North Carolina A&T State University, and it was like very important to go to school and get a degree. And that's all I knew that I needed to do. And I became a mom my senior year, and we broken up with the boyfriend before I even knew I was pregnant. So it's like, well, you know, what do you do with that? And so his family kind of swooped in and said, hey, you know, we'll help while you finish your last year, because my bottom fell out. My family wasn't there to support. And so they did that. And that's a whole nother story within itself. But I guess what's coming up for me as you share this is this false sense of security too. You know, like, these are the things that we think are important, our degrees. These are the things that we think are important, a piece of paper you're still paying for today. You know, and I was an English major and I love words, and that's why I asked you about woman there. But you know, like when it all came down to it, like, was it really that important for me to finish college at the expense of the time that I needed to spend with my newborn? My 1-year-old, you know, at the time. So, you know, and the shame and the guilt, right? And so what do? We cover up. We cover that up. We do more to please others until we're empty inside. And we have to create a new identity for ourselves.
Yeah. And my mom, she used to always tell me, like, you know, Taylor, you're the one kid who you didn't need to get in trouble 1,000 times. It was kind of like, after that one time, you were pretty like set in stone. You get and at this particular time, you know, to answer your initial question, at this particular time, I literally was just like, I don't think I could go through this again. Meaning I don't think I could, furthermore, I don't want to process this all again. So how about we just do a deep clean, a deep cleanse, and restart all the way over? Because if this is what following these ideas has got me, I don't want none of these ideas. it's not just a situation. I don't want none of the ideas that came with it. I don't want anything that can lead me back to this destination to ever come around again. So I'm going to spend however long it takes breaking down every single last, like, I think what sometimes, and this is why I feel dedicated to a woman's journey. Number one, it's never going to end. You're always going to be on a woman's journey. But I also feel so dedicated to it because I understand how intricate it is. I understand that it's not just surface level or of, oh, you just don't like hanging around women. No, there's a reason for that. It's something very deep about that. You know, there's something deeper than just, you know, blanket statements that we say, like, I just have to get this degree. I just have to get this stuff done. There's something underlying there that maybe you haven't dealt with yet. And when I thought about it, a lot of people, and you're so right, when you're going through something like this, you tend to cover. You tend to Band-Aid it. You know, you tend to, you know, not confront it. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to handle it head on. I wanted to rip it like head on from the root. Like I don't want any part of it anymore. And I want to come to a space, to a place where I could live in complete freedom. I would say right now, my life, I am so free from so many of all those things that I was dealing with. And honestly, it was through me not rushing that process. See, in that covering up, you're trying to rush through the pain. I sat through the pain. I fell through the pain. I let the thoughts pass. I let them pass completely from the top of my head to the soles of my feet. I wanted to completely pass through me so that it could be out, so that it can be flushed. You get me? What we try to do is we just try to scrub. We just try to clean it up. No, I wanted to flush it out. And sometimes flushing out means sitting in that shame so that you can understand that shame, so that you can move past that shame. We don't want to sit in it because it's uncomfortable. It doesn't feel good. But that's how bad I want it different. Is I said, I'm going to feel this until I can't feel it no more. If I'm angry, I'm going to let it all out. If I'm crying, I'm going to cry every single day because it has to be flushed out. It's not something that I could rush through. It's not something that I could Band-Aid. If I Band-Aid this and I knew what the result would be, I'm going to be honest with you. If I Band-Aid this at this point in my life, I may never recover. I may never be able to do the complete flush that I really need. I can't put this off for in my 30s or in my 40s. It might be too late then. That's 40 years of conditioning. It might be too late. So I want to do it now. I want to flush it out now. And I'm thinking I'm young. I'm not too attached to really any idea at this point. I mean, I've only been thinking it for 20-something years. That's easy. That's 5 times my life. I have 4 more times to think something completely different. And the thing is that a lot of women are attached to a woman that they don't even like because they don't want to do the work to recreate another one.
Okay, breath of fresh air. You are a breath of fresh air.
Thank you.
I was like, why?
I wish we would have went live. I'm like, dang, I should have charged my phone and been ready.
I mean, I only have like 2 more questions, maybe 3. 3 more questions, but I mean, that's everything. I was born and raised in the Nation of Islam. You're from Cali. You're from Oakland.
Well, I went to school in Cali. I'm originally from Indiana, so that's where I grew up and everything. But I went to college in California.
Are you familiar with the Nation and the bean pies and bow ties?
Yes, of course. Yes.
Okay, so like that was my upbringing. So it was just like if you wear a certain thing a certain way, like if I showed it my clavicle, that was a problem. You know, if I look a man in the eye, can't do that.
Oh wow.
So I was already kind of set up for like, and so when I got to college, it was like, woo, freedom. You know, and make you just do whatever you want does not mean that you just do whatever you want. But my little mind, I didn't know better. And so because of that belief system that I had was already kind of nurtured in, it was like, oh man, you're a bad girl. You did wrong. You know, and it's like you throw yourself right into that purgatory. And so from that you just talked about of just sitting in your stuff, you know, now I practice Nichiren Buddhism, so I chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo like Tina Turner. If you ever seen What's Love Got to Do with It. I think that was another thing that brought me like your life to mind, because that was the reason why she started chanting, was because she wanted to get out of an abusive relationship. And so, you know, within my Buddhist practice, so I was just like, I got to transfer my karma. This is me. And that's where I started. That was 13 years ago. But even like last week, I was like, okay, I'm casting off the transient and revealing the truth. That's the concept in my practice, you know. And so when you talk about, you know, the onion and unpeeling these layers and taking these things off, you know, I'll also look at that as a lotus flower, which is the only thing that blossoms and seeds at the same time in a swamp.
Yeah.
The only flower that grows in the swamp is this beautiful, pure, unsullied flower. And that's what you are. That's what I am. You know, it's what we are if we just allow ourselves to sit in the swamp and recognize that it could get any worse than this.
Wow.
So I might as well just unfold. Go ahead.
that right there, I'm telling you, I was like, whoa, I have never thought of it like that. That just really did something to me. I'm not gonna lie. Like, wow, that is, I'm still trying to process. I'm like, wow, that was really on point. For real though.
But you're living it.
Because I'm just like, that is, and you know, people, and I'm so appreciative. You know, on that journey, I really got to see my support system. It's amazing. You know, on that journey, I gained a new support system, which is like my online audience, right? Which has been amazing, you know, to have, and that's why I, again, feel so connected, because it was women who were going through similar things, and women you would never think. And that's how people saw me. You would never think. You would never believe. You wouldn't assume that. That's not something you would assume. And I'm talking about women from all over. And it was like an epiphany, like a paradigm shift, where it was like, whoa, this is a real need in a woman's community. There needs to be a real space. There needs to be more spaces. Like what we're doing right now, there needs to be more spaces like this. Because it's like we had never even had a convo before. But just the fact that I'm able to speak and you're able to speak and we connect and understand at a level that most people wouldn't, that a man wouldn't, or that, you know what I'm saying, somebody who didn't have that same pain or that same journey before, it to be so similar, almost in sync, is something that, like you said before, it's priceless. It's so delicate. It's something that is so special, meaning that there's no way, there's no coincidence in the world that could have put that together. And and I'm sure it's the same as you. We have these conversations with all kinds of women. I'm talking about all kinds of backgrounds, all kinds of religions, all kinds of ethnicities. How in the world are all of these things connected and so similar? And that's why I think makes the woman's journey so special and powerful. Because like I had spoke about on a call that we did, I think maybe 2 days ago, we did a woman's call. And I was saying that you got to know that there's something powerful about a woman. All women. Because the fact of the matter is that for us all to have some part of our journey that needs some healing, you know, that means it is some part of our journey that is meant to heal others. I get so excited now about telling my story because I'm able to show a different side of a woman that just left an abusive relationship. I get to show her a destination. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes when you leave that, you don't know where your life's about to go, to be honest. You're like, I'm glad I did it. I'm scared. And that's why some women go back, because they don't have a destination when they leave.
I'll tell you that while I was not in a physically abusive relationship, I had been in a mentally abusive relationship for almost 13 years.
Wow.
And I had I left and go back, leave, come back, leave, come back. And, you know, codependence, things like that get in the way. And I finally, this year actually was the year that I decided to take my power back, like all the way back. I flew out to LA. I went on a healing retreat, came back
Yeah.
to COVID and the lockdown, then
Yeah.
still had to face him. And I was like, okay, well, I got to still face you, but I don't know how to like get away from this because it's
Mhm.
such a, it's mental, right? And my womb locked down. TMI, not really, because I was like, you know what? I can't control anything but me. And
Yeah.
she says, like, we're good. Like, we're not doing this anymore. And so then that was one part of my power taken back. But
Mhm.
that's like all your power. It's like all of it. Like my mentor trying to, well, I don't know what she calls it a shanana. She says, I feel it in my shanana a lot. But I'm like, you know what? Like, that's probably where I felt my power come in. Like, no, let me take my power back. You
Yes.
know, and so this whole going back, coming back, but then when you decide,
Mhm.
it's a scary place to like not go back and like you like how much do you have to be burned in the fire before you realize like that you're in it? And a
Mhm.
lot of people don't realize that they're in it.
No, you don't. You
Mm.
you don't. You really don't. It was like, and I call the moment that I had, it was like God literally rebirthing me. I promise you. Because let me tell you why. Because I was dead set on marrying this person.
Mhm.
I knew what I was going through. I completely understood it and this is the crazy thing, and this is why I'm so dedicated to healing now and
Mhm.
wholeness, is because I was able to function in dysfunction. I was able to excel, so to speak, by the world's terms, in negativity and depression, mild depression. Like I was able to still actively function, which
Yeah.
is why I'm not so shocked anymore when certain women do tell me, because I know you're able to function. That's just how powerful a woman is that you can still function while you're not functioning. You get me? Like
Yeah.
while there's a malfunction, you can still function. Okay. So literally it was a moment and it was a paradigm shift where my mind literally did not accept it anymore. It was as if, people who say they like wake up and they don't want to smoke cigarettes anymore, but they've been
Mhm.
smoking for years and years and years and years.
Mhm.
I had been in this relationship. I knew what had came with it. I was okay with what had came with it. I didn't like it. I didn't want it, but I accepted it. And
Mhm.
then one day I woke up and it was in the midst of me literally in another situation again. And it was a switch in my brain that literally said no more.
Mhm.
Just like that. Saved my life. And when the people ask me, like, how did you leave? How did you leave? I literally woke up in the midst of another situation happening, meaning going through it, clothes getting thrown everywhere, already got smacked up, choked, all of that. And
Mhm.
I literally said, in my brain, as I'm going through it, it was like an outer body experience. It's
Mhm.
as if I'm going through it, but in my brain, I'm having a convo with myself, as in, this will never happen again.
Mhm.
So much so that I started to speak it out loud,
Mhm.
calling me names, all this stuff. And I said, and that'll be the last time. And that'll be the last time. And I kept saying it to myself. And it was the last time, for sure. It was the very last time. And I literally going through the peeling back of the layers, the peeling back of everything, confronting it.
Mhm.
And not just confronting it, but uprooting it.
Mhm.
Saying, I don't, like I talked about this the other day, like pain doesn't just go, you have to release it. And me releasing the pain, meaning I see you, I know you're a part of me, and now I release you. I don't want it anymore. You get me? And then saying, if I could do this, and I've been saying this for the past 30, 60 days,
Mhm.
if I can do this in depression, in anxiety, in sadness, and just abuse, if I could do this, what could I do if I was healed and whole? What could I really accomplish?
Mhm.
And in this business in particular, it was a perfect transition. It
Mhm.
was as if I lived this life one day, and the next 24 hours I was living a completely different one.
Mhm.
So what people saw, yes, they saw me do something in business that was amazing, that was praiseworthy.
Mhm.
But like I said on the other call the other day, I was not committed to chairwoman. You got to be crazy to think that I was committed to a check or there's no check. You could not write me a check for my soul. You get what I'm saying? So I was on a soul hunt. I was on a soul mission, meaning I'm trying to get this together. This has to reach a new height. My frequency has to get higher than where it is. That's what made me dive so deep into the business, because I was reaching after another level within myself that I had never been before.
When I tell you, you spoke to my soul on that YouTube video, and everything that you're saying right now is why. Yeah, I'm getting goose pimples, literally, because it's not like even at my altar space where I chant, I have I am chairwoman elite.
Yes.
Because I want all the way up. Like, I don't want to just stop. And I'm like P0 right now. Like, I'm totally not even. But it's like, because I want to have fun with this. I want to own this journey, because I know, like you, if I can excel at undergrad, grad school, and even motherhood, if I can excel in my family and everything, why not I Am Mastery Academy? This is just a new thing that I don't know that I can learn about. Mm-hmm. So why not? But you're proof, in my eyes, you're proof that, did you know anything? Did you know anything about this other than what did you know before you were just like, okay, I'm gonna try this?
Right. So the guy I was dating was actually in I Am Mastery Academy. Mm-hmm. So I was exposed to the information. I was exposed to events. I was exposed, but I never actually signed up. It was almost as if you're an I Am and a friend that just comes over every day and just chills with you and travels with you, mm-hmm. but they're not in the company with you. They're just always with you. That was me. I was exposed to it all. Mm-hmm. So I had heard the calls. I had heard Bob Proctor, I had heard David Medici, all these people prior to enrolling, mm-hmm. but I had never enrolled myself. Mm-hmm. And it also just speaks to, that confidence thing that I was talking about. I had always felt like he had the better personality for something like this. Mm-hmm. So I would just be better as the support. And it was also reaffirmed through things that he would say, you know what I'm saying? And when it came down to the money flow, that's just why, man, I'm just telling you, like, it can get so intricate, because mm-hmm. I had a graphic design business at the same time that he was in I Am Mastery Academy. Mm-hmm. Now, my graphic design business, I was successful, meaning I built that from the ground up. I haven't worked a job since I graduated college. Mm-hmm. And that was 4 years ago. You get me? So I haven't worked a traditional job. Mm-hmm. I had a graphic design business. I started from the ground up, and I was making close to 6 figures designing. Wow. You know what I'm saying? But he was in I Am Mastery Academy and having no success. Mm-hmm. So the things that he would say and the things that he would reiterate and the things that he would the ideals that he would give, even though I was getting results, even though I was paying for everything, mm-hmm. had me feel as though I'm not of worth in a space like this, mm-hmm. which is so backwards, because I look at it now and I'm like, Taylor, you were making all the money. You were building a business, just not an I Am business. Like, essentially, you're the hot stuff. But like we said already, the other people's projections, you see, he wasn't happy about himself. He wasn't fulfilled in himself. So he projected it onto me, and it was so strong that no amount of money or check or results or anything was strong enough until I decided that was done and over with. I look at it now and I'm like, he was, and outside of cheating, outside of abuse, even if none of that was present, mm-hmm. okay, that man should have been worshiping the ground that you walked on, not because of monetary, but because of the value that you did. Woo. The fact that women are able to multiply in that aspect, mm-hmm. It's amazing to me. I didn't even do as much work as him, but I was able to make more money because women have this multiplying aspect, about their nature, about them. If you tap into that, I was just tapping into it on the design side. Mm-hmm. Now, when I became exposed to I Am again, that was when I met my now boyfriend, Tez. Mm-hmm. Even him. he was even telling me like, Taylor, I don't want you to build the business with me. I just want you to do it on your own. You could do it on your own. And when he said that to me, I did not believe him, first of all. And to him, of course, he's like, no, you really can. Like, you already built another business. Like, you have what it takes. And to me, I'm like, no, I don't. I don't even know if I could do something like this. I don't even know if I could coach people. I don't even know if people would listen to me. My personality, like, I'm very introverted. You know, I don't think this is something I could do. Now, mind you, these are just projections that somebody else gave me. It's not even something that I want to take on necessarily. But I was weighed down by them. I was with this person for 5 years. I think to myself, I probably would have been a woman-aire by now if I didn't have those projections on me. But I learned I didn't need that. And I was with this person since I was 18. So 18 years old. I'm sure you look at 18 much differently now than when you were 18. I look at 18 much differently now, and I'm 25. So when I see 18, I see a baby. I don't see an adult. I don't see somebody ready to process or understand anything. I see a child at 18 years old. My sister is 21, and I still be looking at her like that's a kid. Because I think
your brain's definitely not finished developed until like you're 25, 30. So yeah.
Exactly. So you gotta think, I'm going through mental, emotional, sometimes physical abuse, 18 years old to 23. What is my confidence like?
Zero.
My dad has always been in my life physically. Physically, he's always been there. But we've had our times. And I had a women's event maybe 3 weeks ago, and I told them, I said, you want to know when my life changed? I said I was 23, 22 years old. And yes, it's when this relationship is ending. I say to myself, I need to forgive my dad.
That's that work right there. That's what I like. Justin Owens, my computer's gonna die if I don't play that.
Yes.
Justin Owens is first, you know, that album, that mixtape. And he's like, the first thing you have to do on this walk is forgive.
When I tell you that unlocked the key to everything, because I didn't understand how that one thing was affecting everything. That's how bitterness and unforgiveness works. It takes root.
Arthritis.
You know, it spreads like a cancer.
Yeah.
It spreads into everything. And one day I'm literally sitting there and I'm thinking of, in a woman's journey, how many aspects were affected by that? Self-confidence, self-worth, body image.
All of it.
Forgiveness. And you're right. Oh my God, you said it so perfectly. You only forgive yourself to the level that you value yourself. So I don't even have forgiveness, love for myself. I'm doing these things that people want me to do. I'm accomplishing these things that people said I should have. And my self-worth is at 0. Because of that unforgiveness and that relationship. And that was literally the switch. It was honestly like night and day. My life was like night and day. But I also was willing to do that work. I was willing to get really, really, I had to sit with myself. And I'm not gonna lie, even times in building the business, I tell my team all the time, you don't know how many times I've gotten off of Zoom and completely broke down after. I'm talking about, they didn't leave the Zoom like Taylor was sad. They left the Zoom like, yes, let's go get it. Woo! Yes, like I'm pumped up. And you would think I was on that same energy when I hung up on the Zoom. I wasn't. I was breaking down because I literally I'm releasing at the same time that I may be pouring out. And a lot of people, to build a business is one thing, as you know. You know, a lot comes with building the business. But it just so happened that I also had the journey of building the business and building myself at the same exact time. So as you saw me grow in the business, you could see when I was really walking in that element, meaning you saw me maybe get a little nervous telling my story, maybe even cry. And then eventually you begin to see me kind of tell a story, but with power now. You know, and now you see me tell a story and it's real short. It's like Taylor almost skipped over it. And you know what I'm saying? Like, so you saw the process with the business, it was literally synonymous with my personal journey, my personal growth to healing.
Yeah.
And now I'm a chairman 10, right? Have a completely different lifestyle, completely different relationship. It seems as though like, wow, Taylor is really at the height, but I know it's because of my commitment in my journey to wholeness and healing. I could never be full of myself. I could never be prideful because I know what life, my ideas and decisions were leading up to.
That's wisdom. That
Mm-hmm.
is absolute wisdom. You know, I mean, I have no, I literally have no comment other than that is wisdom, you know. And it takes me back to the question about you rebuilding yourself. And so it's a two-part question,
Mm-hmm.
because as you decided to reinvent yourself, you know, that means, what does that like look like to reinvent yourself? Because I've heard that a couple of times, even from my mentor. She's like, you're just going to have to create an alter ego. And I'm like, but I'm just starting to grow locks, but I'm just starting to like, how am I supposed to do this? I can't put a sewing in right now. Like, what does that really mean to create this alter ego, or and really to build a culture? But that's my question: culture and alter ego. Mm-hmm.
It all starts with one question, actually.
Mm-hmm.
When I first met Tez, you know, it's so funny how we actually began to date, and how even just that initial decision of I want different had attracted us to each other. But the first thing he told me, it's a lot of things that he told me when I first met him that to this day I see how it lined up. But the first thing he asked me, and he literally, and I didn't know how to answer. He literally said, and I said it on the Riyadh call, I believe, but he said, what do you want? Everything starts there. What do you want? To get anything that you want in life, you just have to have the desire. That's the only requirement. There is no other requirement to anything except to want it. Meaning, if you want it, if you desire it, you deserve it. There's no other requirement. No other requirement. So the alter ego, the recreating, it all started with, what do I want? And when Tess first asked me, I'm gonna be honest, I was like, what do I want? What do you mean, like in business and life? He literally said, what do you want? And I'm like, in business and life, what do you mean? You know what I'm saying? No, what do you want? Just what do you want? And I was so taken aback because I'm like, first of all, this is not how first dates go. Second of all, I'm doing this right. Like, second of all, I don't know. That's the real answer. Most people, we don't know. I don't know. So it's like when you're going to a restaurant and you order, the waiter says, what do you want? And you say, just bring me something to drink. And they bring you a beer. You're like, I don't drink beer. Well, you said anything to drink. Like, it's the same thing with your life. You have to be very specific. You have to know what you're ordering. What do you want? So when I thought about it, what did I want? I wanted to be a woman who was warm. I kid you not. It was like the things that I wanted was like these words and these feelings and these emotions that I honestly had never experienced. I didn't even know if I could be that, but that's what I wanted. I wanted to be a woman who was warm because I had experienced it before. I wanted to be a woman like that. I also wanted to be a woman who was just confident. At the time, I had no confidence. You know, I wanted to be a woman who, when she walked into the room, she could command that room, like when she speaks. At the time, I didn't have a room to speak in. And I didn't have anybody to listen to me. You get me? But I wanted to be a woman who was full of forgiveness, who was just light, who was just a light, who was free flowing. And to be quite honest, I didn't know that this woman existed. Because growing up, a woman's intricate journey, I had never really received that from women who were older than me. So why do I love being a mentor? Because I always wanted a mentor. You know, a lot of the women that I had come into contact with, it would always turn sour one way or another. And it just made me so upset because I'm literally like, I'm the woman that actually wants it. I'm the woman that actually would respect it, that would honor it. Why does it have to turn this way? Why are we in competition? You know what I'm saying? Why am I a threat to you now when I look up to you, when I want to be around you? You get me? When I want to learn from you. And that was just always my experience. You know what I'm saying? So I literally was just like, I didn't know it existed, to be honest. I didn't know if this woman existed. but I wanted to be like that. And so what I did was, when I was recreating, it was really a lot of, it wasn't even a lot of like, some things were. It was like, do I really like makeup or do I not like makeup? I had to ask myself this, like, do I like dressing up or do I not like dressing up? Do I like parties or do I not like parties? Like, what are we gonna decide? Because people had made these decisions for me. And I didn't even know that I didn't make the decision. Somebody else made the decision. Like, Tess was taking me to a party when I first moved to Atlanta. And I was like, this is kind of cool. I actually don't dislike this. People had just told me that I should dislike these type of environments, but it wasn't that bad. I actually had fun. I was meeting new people. I was fellowshipping with different types of people. And it's just little stuff like that. But in reality, it was like, okay, then after that, it was like, okay, well, how would a woman like this respond to conflict? How would this type of woman, what time does she get up in the morning? You know, what kind of books does she read? What does she do with her money? So I'm getting lost in recreating this woman and just trying to be this woman that I don't even know that exists. And then you wake up one day and you are her.
Fairy tale fortune.
Or people see you as her. And you like, I think I am her. I've been working on being like her. I've been writing down things like her. And now I am her. So I do tell people, you know, the woman-aire is I say it's two different people. The woman-aire is different than Taylor. But in reality, Taylor just created the woman-aire. The woman-aire is who Taylor always wanted to be. And they're synonymous, they're the same, but Taylor is introverted. Taylor would rather just be at home. You know, Taylor, you know, those are personality traits. But in reality, what we talk about recreating, rebuilding yourself, it's just who you always wanted to be, how you always wanted to be like. And my mom told me when I first left that relationship and I came back to her house, I had to stay with her until I figured out some stuff. She said, Taylor, you can restart over whenever you want. This is the one shot you got at life. If you want to restart, you can restart. You can, and she told me, these are her exact words, you can completely recreate yourself. When she said that to me, I said, I can completely, meaning I don't have to be like this. I could be somebody else other than this girl. And I could pick and choose who I want to be. So I start I Am Mastery Academy. And I decide I am going to be a strong boss. You know, I know who I'm going to be. But I'm not going to run from who I was. I'm going to use that as power. I'm going to use my weakness as power. And I'm going to practice using it as power until one day I can fully walk in the power that does come with that. So now I went from not even wanting to share, not even wanting to talk about it at all, to now talking about it any chance that I get, because I want to show the power in that. You said it, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you said this. I want to put the power back into your hands. The power, you just have to take it back.
Yeah.
Take the power back. So that's what I did. I took the power back. I said, you're not going to use my story to keep me bound.
Ugh. Okay.
I'm going to use that story to set me free.
This is healing.
Yes.
Like the universe has called you and was like, now call her. Like, and have this dialogue, because that is it. You know, that is it. You know, and this is, I think I Am Mastery Academy is that vehicle for you. It can be, you know, it can be anything you want. Like for me, it's like, I just want to be a well-developed, fully endowed woman who can do it all. Make my body oils. I got my lady of the house body oils. You know, I'm doing that. You know, I got my therapeutic practice. I work at an agency. I still have a 9-to-5, you know. And then it's like, and then I want to do other things. I have dreams. I want a nonprofit. I want to be the woman who can do it all. But you still need a vehicle to do that. And what better way to take your power back than to say, you know what, let me get into this trade.
Yes.
Like, instead of borrowing money from the bank, seeing, you know, if somebody will loan it to me, if I want it that bad, if I really need that $10,000 that bad, then all the opportunities are right there.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And it's just it's funny how things work, because you get started in this opportunity for money, and what you get out of it is priceless. You can't even put a price on it. You can't put money on it. But the reason why I think it's through the realm or the industry of money, literally, for it's literally money. You know why I think that is because with money comes freedom. You know, with money comes choice. With money comes power. So it's so interesting to me, even just on a completely different note, is just that when you are seeking after that internally, that you somehow also get lined up with people who are interested in self-development, people who are interested in investing, you know, that meaning it's on the same frequency, meaning like the same frequency as the people who are seeking freedom and choice and healing and increasing their being. They're usually on the same level as the people who have monetary, you know what I'm saying, like monetary blessings, things where they actually have, because they have good habits, they have discipline, they have clarity of mind. You know, when I moved here, it's really interesting. When I moved here, I understood why certain people are bound at certain places that they are. See, people where I live, they get up early. They go on walks every single day. You know, they start their day around like 6 a.m. You get me? Like, and it's no coincidence, just like how I said it's no coincidence that women all have this alike. It's no coincidence that the people who live here are all similar in that way, because it's just that same frequency. It has nothing to do with job title. It has nothing to do with background. It has nothing to do with that. It's literally the frequency that they're on.
The frequency of success.
Yes, exactly. Of success. Absolutely. It's like I told my leaders this morning, I said, success wears the same t-shirt. You guys have to understand that. Like, no, it's no secret, nothing. It's no different way. Trust me, you can go to somebody who's successful in barbering, somebody who's successful in sports. You can ask them the same questions you're going to ask me, and you're probably going to get a very similar answer. It's the same t-shirt. It's the same.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I know your alarm's going off, and it's 4:03.
Oh yes, let me get it. Oh my gosh.
I'm the girl that sleeps through her alarm. So when you're like this,
it was crazy. It was fading into the background. I'm literally like, I am so weak. I'm cracking up.
I sleep through my alarm. I don't sleep through my alarm, but I tune it out.
I mean, you see how I just did that? I literally did not hear, and as soon as you said alarm, I heard it. It was like, oh, alarm.
I used to sleep through my alarm. Now I get up before it, but I still tune it out when it's going off. I don't hear it. So if it was mine, I wouldn't hear it either. I only had one other question for you, and I think that because you're so thorough, and that's just like, what does last name first mean? Can you? I can't wrap my brain around last name first, other than putting yourself first. But
yes, you know, and it's crazy. I did an Instagram live because people have asked me about it a lot. And my last name first is basically, you know, when I was going chairwoman, you know, of course, we all have our goals of when we want to hit dates, you know, when we want to, when we want to accomplish goals. And I had my date set in stone, and close to chairwoman, I found out that my grandpa had lung cancer, right? And he could be passing soon. And so at the time, I'm going through so much in my business. I mean, drama, you know, losing friends. It just seemed like a lot of things were happening when I got the closest to the end goal. You get me? So I told myself, you know, if it doesn't have to do with my last name, literally, like my family, I don't have time for it right now. I felt like I was on a timeline because he could be passing, you know, he could be gone. And I wanted him to know that I hit 6 figures. I wanted him to know that I had accomplished something that I really wanted to accomplish. Because up until I Am Mastery Academy, I'd never really accomplished too much, you know, other than graduating college, you know, like, and by accomplishment, I mean something that I could be proud of, something that I did for me. You know, school, I did that for my parents, you know, so things that were for me, I wanted him to see that. I wanted him to see that. So at the time, it was a mantra for myself to remind myself, like, Taylor, you have to focus on your family. You have to focus on why you came here. You cannot focus on this person's opinion or how this person is feeling, because feelings aren't facts. You know, like, you aren't doing this for them. You're doing it for your family. Mm-hmm. So you're going to have to buckle up, get some backbone, and push, because this is literally the last leg. You cannot give in right now. Mm-hmm. And there were multiple times going chairwoman when I'm close, where I literally would tell Tess, like, I don't want to do this no more. As like going chairwoman saying this, like, I don't want to do this. This is just, it's not worth it. It's no, you know, but I really had to tell myself, like, no, Taylor, your family needs to see you do this. Your mom needs to see you do this. Your dad needs to see you do this. You're not doing this for anybody else but them. Mm-hmm. Let's say, for example, something happens to my brother. He's a young Black male. Mm-hmm. Never would hurt a fly. He's never gotten in any trouble his entire life. But in the state of where we are right now in our country, anything mm-hmm. could happen. Who's going to be able to have the finances to help him? Me. Right. I have a little sister who, when I was in Atlanta, when I moved here, she was in school. She couldn't work during quarantine. So who's going to pay the bills? Me. I'm the only one. Like, when I really look at my family, if it has anything to do with finances, who has the greater chance of writing that check? At the time, it was me. Me. I'm the one who has access to a $7.3 trillion market. I'm the one who is on Zooms all day talking about this market. So when you line up my whole family, you're going to end up on Taylor. I'm the one who God gave this opportunity to. So I took that on my back, as in my last name first. You get me? Like, there's nothing more important than my parents to me. Your opinion, like, when you really think about it, is how you're feeling right now temporarily more important than my mom? No. Is this mentor, how this person talks, is that more important than my sibling? No. It's a very easy, when you put it that way, it's a very easy, it's not more important.
Yeah, what price would I give? What's the price that I would pay to give up this value? Exactly. So important to me, family.
Exactly. But sometimes, you know, when you're going through things in the business, it can seem like your whole world is crumbling.
Mm-hmm. Because it can be emotional. It gets emotional.
It can seem like, especially when somebody leaves your business, you know, or somebody, you hear somebody's talking smack, or whatever the case may be. It can feel like a lot. But when you really think about it, this or this, it's right. A very easy. So for me, it was the mantra to keep me on track. It was the way to reset my mind every time I felt it slipping. Like, oh, no, we're focused on this. Your mom needs to see this. Your family needs to see this. My whole entire family trades now.
I love that. I love that.
Literally. And now I think to myself, see, it was in all the things that happened prior to going chairwoman, guess what? When I went chairwoman, they all went away. So that's why I'm so glad I didn't choose to pour into that and give more energy to that, because it was going to fall off anyway. They say that an eagle, when, like an eagle, what they do is they try to like eat out of the crow's nest, right? And so what the crow does is that when they see the eagle, they jump on the eagle's back, because naturally speaking, a crow could not take an eagle. It's so much bigger. Mm-hmm. But all the eagle knows how to get the crow off. All the eagle has to do is fly higher. It just needs to increase its altitude. Because the eagle can soar at a higher altitude than a crow. So when the eagle increases its altitude, the crow falls off. See, that's what people need to do in this business. There's a crow on your back. You just increase your altitude. You just go higher. The crow is going to fall off. The problem is going to fall off. The people, the naysayers, they're going to fall off. You just have to increase your altitude. Mm-hmm. Because negativity, gossip, it can't live up there. You're just flying too low. That's all. That's why you're dealing with it, is because you're flying too low. Increase your altitude, it'll all fall off. Because it can't live up there. It can't, the crow literally cannot breathe that high. It cannot survive that high. So guess what? Naysayers, people who are quitting, people who are complaining, people who are comparing, they simply cannot live up there. So what do I want to do? Either I decrease myself and get used to that, or I increase my altitude to where they can't even survive.
Mm-hmm.
As a chairwoman, I'll tell you this because you're building the business. As a chairwoman, the things that you deal with now in the business will not survive when you go chairwoman. Meaning you will not deal with them. People don't tell me anything is a scam. People don't tell me that. You must be crazy. You're not going to be able to tell me that. People don't tell me that this doesn't work. There's certain things when you increase in altitude, you just don't deal with it anymore. Now, of course, I dealt with it when I first started building the business, but I'm so glad I didn't focus on that I just increased my altitude. So that's definitely, what I would have to say. It's been an amazing journey, but always knowing that my last name first. It's about my family. It's about who I'm doing this for. It and that's why I said getting committed to that woman, getting committed to that other person that you want to create, because a rank is not strong enough. It's not strong enough of a push. If that's the case, we would go get 6-figure salaries somewhere.
Yeah, right.
It's not strong enough of a push that is not heavy enough for me.
Not for a woman of substance.
No, it's just simply not enough. What I got connected to, what I got really, really obsessed with was becoming that woman, was becoming her, being who she is in her family, being respected by different types of people, being invited, having things fall into place for myself. That's the woman that I wanted to be, I want to focus on. And just by default, Chairwoman 10, just by default, disciplines and just having leaders, attracting conversations like this, leaders like this, because of that commitment. You get me? And so that's why I am so dedicated to talking about stuff like this. And I do feel like I have such a deep calling around it. And that's why I'm so grateful for that day last year. That day just put me on track to my purpose and destiny, but I had to fall. Yes, I had to fall very hard and in front of a lot of people, to be honest. But I would do it all over again. I really would. Because now, there's no price that you can pay for what we do. Yes, we set people free financially. But I believe that each and every single person in I Am, that's just the first part of our assignment. Because that's what we're interested in. We're interested in making more money. So that's the first part of our assignment. The second part of our assignment is really utilizing that purpose to free others mentally, spiritually, personally, emotionally, whatever it is. Like, we have the keys to freedom with this.
Yes, that's why I came back. I was like 2 years ago, I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I'm in this relationship. I just started this job. This is a lot, And then I hit my breaking point, and I just told myself in my mind, I'm gonna set this aside, but I'm coming back.
Yes.
But I mean, because of that, because it exposed me to something called success that I'd never seen before, like this, accessible to all.
Yes, absolutely.
You're the best. I just give so much thanks for your graciousness.
I really enjoyed this. I really did. We have to do it again.
Please, let's do it. We're gonna have to go live. Yes, honey.
We're gonna have to go live myself.
Yes. Thank you so much, Queen. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your Saturday, and I'll be in touch with you for sure.
Yes, definitely. And let me know any way I can help. Anytime you want to do this again, I'm definitely open. I appreciate you, for inviting me to this space. It's always healing for me. It's always healing for me. The more that I can discuss and talk, and trust me, I got something a lot out of this too. So thank you.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Okay. Have a wonderful night.
You too. Talk to you later.